Hugo, may I have your opinion on Megatron? You do anything for you like it? Like it at all? No? Well, thanks for your opinion. Bye, Hugo. So, Megatron has had a bit of a nightmare in the Transformers toy line. Starting all the way back with his G1 toy, Megatron has consistently suffered with wonky proportions, little to no articulation, and inconsistent aesthetics. Armada Megatron has always looked too much like G1 Scorponok to me. He just moved his hand pincers to his head. A queen as fierce as Megatron doesn't need to steal another bitch's look. Optimus, conversely, hasn't suffered with these problems. Although his design has changed slightly between continuities, you can always count on Optimus having decent toys and being some form of red and blue man who turns into a semi-truck. Most of Megatron's problems stem from his alt mode. He started out as a gun, which is pretty fucking stupid to be honest. Megatron is a ferocious warrior, a hardened gladiator, and a maniacal despot, set on conquering the universe and trampling over anyone who gets in his path. Yet he needs someone else to hold him, usually bloody Starscream at that, and pull his unfortunately placed trigger.
Pull me off, big man.
Nah, mate, that doesn't sound right. Surely Megatron would have an alt mode that would offer independence and mobility on the battlefield. A tank seems about right, but of course that's not G1 accurate, so fans have constantly been split into two camps. Some want that pure, fine-cut, G1 accurate nostalgia of gun Megatron, something that's been made almost impossible with toy gun laws. Others are quite happy to let go of the past and accept that Megatron will semi-reliably be depicted as a tank in all future continuity. What if, though, we lived in a world where we could have both? Well, kind of. Let me introduce you to Bumblebee Concept Art Megatron. Unquestionably, the very best Megatron Hasbro have ever released. Just look at this robot mode. This is a cold killing machine. Megatron towers over the poor Movieverse Autobots. This fella looks like he'd just be ripping off dicks left, right and centre. Let's be honest, G1 Megatron wasn't really that scary. He talked a good game, but as soon as Prime turned up, he'd absolutely shit his metal pants and order the Decepticons to retreat. This Megatron seems different though. This is a machine built for all-out war. The lineup of Megatron along with Bumblebee movie Shockwave, Soundwave and Starscream look like the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Most of the details from G1 Megatron are carried over, but the menace has been turned up to 11. Megatron has his iconic bucket helmet, but the face under it is nothing short of a mechanical night terror. Like all Movieverse head sculpts, it's packed with detail. Whereas I find most movie face designs a little too busy, I think this really works for Megatron. Just look at these piercing red Terminator-esque eyes. Megatron wants to murder you and use your corpse in the same way this monkey used this unfortunate frog. From this cold metallic chest plate to these thick-ass legs, Megatron's proportions are suitably chunky and powerful. The mechanical detail on Megatron is just awesome, with all the visible rivets, pistons and pipes. However, the true greatness of this toy lies in its articulation and posability. Wow, just wow! Megatron is easily one of the most articulated bots in my collection. Just about every joint has been included here, which makes posing Megatron just delightful, especially with his awesomely detailed fusion cannon. The barrel is a bit thin for my tastes. I like Megatron with a long, thick black pipe, but this isn't too egregious. You can even fold the fusion cannon up and put it on Megatron's back, something that no one will ever do more than once. Anyway, Megatron's articulation is so good you'd be forgiven for thinking this was a non-transforming action figure. It's blatantly obvious that Megatron's official alt modes have been sacrificed in service of this amazing robot mode. Tank mode is alright. There's some good stuff going on here, like how Megatron's legs fold in themselves to make up the treads. The turret though, it's pretty pish. It comes across like a pair of arms gripping onto Megatron's fusion cannon, which is quite accurate because that's exactly what it is. Pulling these treads out of Megatron's calves is honking as well. I wish the robot chest could fold away more neatly instead of just blatantly hanging out here. It's a solid enough tank, like a 6 out of 10. It just feels worse in comparison to the banging robot mode. The jet mode is just plain awful though. Plain awful. You get it, it's a shite plane, airplane. Anyway, the jet just doesn't fit together at all and subsequently feels like an afterthought to squeeze in a triple changing gimmick. I still don't know what you're meant to do with Megatron's arms. They're meant to peg in underneath, but they just keep popping out and look heavy pish. You can make your own configurations that look better, but this still looks like Megatron doing a painful yoga pose to stretch out his butthole. The fan modes on Concept Megatron are really where the fun is at. Look, here's Metal Gear Rex. Awesome. Here's an elephant. Weird, but still pretty awesome. Most impressively, however, is this naughty gun mode. Wow, this actually works. This is mostly due to the amazing articulation on robot mode, allowing Megatron to twist and contort into this gunny shape. What previously was the jet cockpit bends round to become this trigger guard, and one hip skirt acts as a trigger. This handle is comprised of Megatron's legs and feels surprisingly sturdy in hand. The only thing a bit off is that the gun barrel kind of floats between his arms, but you could easily sell that off as being part of the space laser gun design. On the whole, this is very impressive and feels great to swoosh about like you're a American high school student with mental health problems. Overall, Concept Megatron is superb. Despite the lackluster official alt modes, the top tier robot mode and messing about with the multitude of wacky fan creations is loads of fun. I think this is as close as we're likely to get to an official Megatron with both tank and gun modes. Mind Bold Form's Gladys? Oh, I suppose we'll have to wait and see what SS86 Megatron will be, but until then, this is the best Megatron money can buy. So who could possibly stand in this Megatron's way? Missing Link Prime? Nah, the poor wee fellow would just be ripped apart like wet bog roll. Mainline Rise of the Beast Prime? Nah, this looks like a 5-year-old child next to Megatron. How about knockoff Studio Series 38 Prime? He's still short, huh? It doesn't seem like a fair fight, does it? No, the only Prime who would stand a chance would be MHZ Supreme Commander. I've talked a lot of shit about Studio Series 102 Optimus. He has a great robot mode, sure, but he was severely lacking in paint apps, accessories, look at that chilled thing right there, and the back of his op mode was an absolute disgrace, on par with Lala Ree's bag dress. MHZ Supreme Commander fixes all of these issues and gives Optimus a much needed size boost as well. Of course, this is what you would term a knockoff, but as far as I know, Hasbro have no intentions of fixing the issues of Studio Series 102, so it's been left to other companies to address these problems with upgrade kits and bootlegs of the mould. These bootlegs frequently have far better decos than the original and can even feature improved engineering. We'll see that later on. Just have a look at Supreme Commander as a case in point. He looks awesome. The boring grey plastic of Studio Series 102 has been replaced with shiny metallic silver, whilst other areas like the inside of his chest and legs have received a more accurate paint job. This makes the figure look so much more premium and complete than the half-arsed official version. This has to be the best Movieverse Prime ever. All the details are just immaculate, like this ultra-detailed head sculpt, these silver-tipped tip windows, and this well-sculpted back piece. From all angles, this Optimus is just killing it. There's hardly any kibble here at all. I absolutely love the scale of this Prime. I think he looks bloody smashing with the rest of the Autobot cast from Rise of the Beasts. Optimus can't help but look graceful and majestic in every pose you put him in. Like Megatron, Optimus has been packed with articulation, even including a very tasteful ab crunch. The only thing lacking here are his shoulders. Optimus has a bad case of hot rod shoulders, meaning the joint is in the shoulder and not the arm. This means his thick-ass beefy shoulders sometimes collide with his beautifully sculpted head. It's a bit annoying, but manageable. This unfortunately means you really can't put Optimus into a Christ pose to complete his robot Jesus vibe. That's okay though. I don't think the fictional character of Jesus was as good as we think he was anyway. So he died for our sins, eh? Okay, but as one of the Holy Trinity of Father, Son and the Holy Ghost, isn't he meant to be omnipresent, omniscient and omnipotent? That means he already knows what our future deeds and sins will be. It's like leaving a succulent Chinese meal.
A succulent Chinese meal?
On the floor in front of a puppy, then acting upset when the poor wee thing snaffles it up.
Get your hand off my penis!
Plus, while certainly nothing to be sniffed at, crucifixion wasn't that bad a way to die. I'd have more respect for him if he'd managed to come back from the dead after being taken out by a Mexican cartel. Those fellas really know how to kill someone. They turn murder into an art form the Xenobites would get wet knickers over. Try rising after 3 days when your hands and feet have been cut off, the skin has been peeled off your face like an orange, and your severed willy has been stuck up your arse. Anyway, what were we doing again? Oh, toy reviews. So, Supreme Commander is pretty spectacular in robot mode. Whilst he isn't quite as limber as Concept Megatron, he's still the most poseable Prime in my collection. You get a shit ton of accessories with Supreme Commander, instead of the meagre 2 that came with the official version. Here's a lovely Ion Blaster, and 2 far more accurate and substantial Fist Blasters. Isn't Fist Blasters the name of the movie that your mum starred in? My favourite accessories have to be the dual wrist-mounted swords and this ferocious axe. This Prime is an absolute beast, so I can totally imagine him ditching the ranged weapons, going in close and personal with melee weapons and chopping off dicks. You also get a blue hologram thing and a wee Noah Diaz. And this long blue thing, which will make more sense later. Transformation in Supreme Commander is very similar to Studio Series 38, as this is essentially just a refined version of that toy. A few transformation steps have been cleaned up, like the less impeded rotation of Prime's upper half, and the head now being stored in between his powerful tip windows. Supreme Commander's legs have had an engineering overhaul from Studio Series 102. The ugly blue panels that stuck out the back of Studio Series 102 are now separate pieces moulded in silver plastic and attached via a tiny ball joint. They really like falling off when you mess with them, but the end result of transformation is more than worth it. From the front of Supreme Commander's truck mode, he looks unchanged from Studio Series 102, but as you move round the back, you can see the improved engineering. This looks clean. Well, a lot cleaner than whatever was going on with Studio Series 102. While this is a good looking truck, I still prefer Studio Series 38. It's pretty much unbeatable for a real world aesthetic Optimus truck. Still, Supreme Commander is a close second. I love the bull bars at the front and the fact that this has double tyres at the back. Nice! To complete the look, you can add this included blue thing on the back. It looks great, but this is parts forming at its worst. There's no way to integrate this piece with robot mode, so it'll just hang about like a bad smell until you need it for alt mode. It's unnecessary in my opinion, as Supreme Commander's truck mode looks perfectly fine without it. Thanks MHZ, but I'll just be keeping this in the box. Anyway, Supreme Commander is now undoubtedly the most accurate and articulated movie prime you can buy. How is it that this figure costs substantially less than the official release but has so much more? I hope the answer isn't child slave labour. Not for any moral reason, fuck 'em. I just find their workmanship rather inconsistent. So, should you get these two? If you're into the movie designs, it's a no-brainer. This is the best Megatron and Optimus currently available. Personally, I like the cartoon aesthetic more, so I'm hoping the upcoming Studio Series 86 versions of our eternally warring duo will be just as good or better. Sometimes I think the movie designs are too cool and badass for their own good. I like my bots a bit frumpier, a bit goofier, you know. The movie designs sometimes remind me of try-hard edgy t-shirts and metal album covers. I would desperately like some bots I could laugh at instead of everyone being mechanical murder machines. Let's not forget this franchise began with the ridiculous premise of Truck Jesus versus Gun Hitler. Anyway, you guys have a great night. Catch you later.
Like, subscribe, and tell your dad. Like, subscribe, and tell your dad. Like, subscribe, and tell your dad.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.